Okay, so as I was saying, now that you have completed your research, especially when you are writing, when you wrote chapter 5, the implication of the research, the significance of the research, right? The impact of your research. At that level, you are already thinking about, now, if I was going to make this research data available, the research findings available to the society at large, this is the aspect that I will focus on, right? So I want you to kind of start from that point. Look at chapter 5, look at what you have said in the implication of your research, look at the conclusion of your analysis as well. Based on these two, you can come up with a thesis statement of your journal paper, okay? So it's usually based on the big picture that your research drew, based on the corpus that you have identified. It can be about the writer, in Ida's case, because she is a social media influencer. Her impact is at that popular culture level, right? So based on her fame as a social media influencer, you want to know the kind of writing that she demonstrates in her creative work, right? The kind of writing that she captures. The kind of writing that she captures are serious issues, right? She's not writing, just because people talk about popular culture, it's not about frivolous things, right? It's about critical things, sometimes about tragic experiences, human experiences, abuse, harassment. These are not things to be taken lightly. So you may begin on that premise to look at how Rupi Kaur, as a popular social media poet, uses her platform, right? Uses her status as a social media influencer, uses the platform, the social media platform, to raise important critical issues. What kind of issues does she raise? That's what the paper will be about. So the findings of chapter 4 will be used for that purpose. But the thesis is the most important thing in your journal article. If for a research, the most important aspect of your research is chapter 4, your analysis, because that's where the new finding is. For a journal paper, the most important aspect is the thesis statement. The thesis statement introduces the new finding or the new hypothesis that other researchers have never said before with regards to the corpus that you have identified, okay? In order to write the thesis statement, you have to look at the implication of your research, the big picture that you have developed based on the text that you have identified, okay? So produce the thesis statement and use any part of your chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come up with a paragraph or two introducing the writer, introducing her position within popular media, popular culture, social media, and all, and end with a thesis statement. So that would be the introduction. So start with that first. Ida, that would be your task. That means I'm looking at 2 to 3 paragraph maximum. Take whatever you have written in your project paper. So I'm not asking you to write anything new. I'm asking you to look at chapter 1, background of study, all throughout until chapter 5. Look at everything. Based on everything, identify 3 paragraphs. Okay? Introducing the writer that you have chosen, introducing her position in popular culture and popular media. So the context, popular culture, social media, and a literary figure in the current generation, and end with the thesis statement. Thesis statement, where do I get it from? Look at the implication of your research in chapter 5, how you have concluded Rupi Kaur and her role as a social media influencer and the impact of her writing to society at large. So I'm asking you to just develop 3 paragraphs based on what you have already written that I have already edited. Okay, so that's the first task. Just do that. Once you've got that, we can look at chapter 2, chapter 3. We can say, okay, which parts will be part of the literature review, which parts will be part of the methodology, which part of the analysis will I take from chapter 4, put it all together. But the heart of your paper is the introduction with the thesis statement. Once we have that, once we know what we want to say, we can come up with a clear structure of the paper and the title and all that. Okay, but don't go far. It's all in your thesis. So you may want to take a sentence from the background and a sentence from the conclusion. You may, or even sentence or 2 from the methodology where you introduce the corpus. Just put it together like that. Okay, and you may edit it later lah. Okay, just to kind of let you all know, for editing, if the journal requires payments, I will pay for it. Okay, so you will be the main author, Barbara and Ida, you all will be the main author. I will be the corresponding author. So that means when I submit it on our behalf, if the journal requirements requires payments or whatever, I will do that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But your role is to identify the journal. Where do you think? I mean, I have some journals in mind, but part of the process of publishing and being a published author is for you to be able to look for journals that suits this publication, this kind of writing that you are producing. So that's the second task that you need to do. So the first task is to produce the introduction plus a thesis statement, right? 3 paragraphs at most. So I'm looking at a page, maximum a page and a half, that's all. But all from the current project paper that you have already produced. The second is to identify journals. Now, you need to be able to identify journals that suits your research. So look at Journal of Arts and Humanities, Journal of, the areas that you fit within. Young adult, for Barbara, would be young adult writing, popular culture, arts and humanities. So just keywords like that, okay? And then identify 3, and then we can talk. We can further talk about that. Look at their index. They need to be indexed in reputable indexes in order to show that the journals are reputable journals. Okay. Based on your choices, I will help you identify the good ones. Barbara, for you, again, as I said with Ida, look at chapter 5, the implication of your research, and especially how this writing challenges the unconventional notion of the unconventional chosen one. That is a brilliant thesis, right? So that basically, if Ida's paper focuses on how her poet, Rupi Kaur, uses her elevated status. You can use these keywords, Ida. Rupi Kaur uses her elevated status as a social media influencer to raise critical issues that members of society are facing, including, abuse, harassment, right? Barbara, your thesis will not be about, oh good Lord, what's her name? What's the writer's name?
Rainbow Rowell.
Rainbow Rowell, oh good Lord. What Rainbow Rowell, you're not saying something specific about Rainbow Rowell, the novelist, but you are saying about her, what she does through her novel, which is to challenge the genre of the chosen one trope. right? So in her narrative, she challenges the chosen one trope. And the way she challenges it by making her hero unconventional. And in your analysis, you will show how the unconventionality of the chosen one is illustrated. In what aspect of the unconventionality of the chosen one is demonstrated through, all those methodology that you have identified lah. So your introduction and thesis statement will be slightly different from IDA's, but it is all from chapter 5. Have a look at chapter 5 and chapter 1 and put it together in terms of your introductory paragraphs with your thesis statement. Any questions?
So just to recap, so that I understand, so basically our task is we also need to find journal article websites that are suitable for our publication. Is that correct?
Let me just share screen very quickly. Yes, that's correct. So can you see the screen yet?
Yes, it's
Just a
displayed.
quick one, a quick one you can do is you just say Google Journal, Arts, Humanities. Okay, so, Journal of Arts and Humanities, Journal of Arts of Humanities. So there are many, and you may look at this ranking, and you may want to look at, okay, which kind of journal am I interested in, and what is their ranking and all that. Just enjoy the experience of, this idea of quartile. This is Q, quartile. Quartile 1 is a very good journal. That means they are a highly reputable journal. Okay, so let's not aim for those kinds of very high ranking journals, because our research, the data is limited. So we don't have enough of data to make significant impact in terms of the chosen one trope, in terms of Rupi Kaur as a social media influencer, because our corpus is limited, right? But having said that, we can still make significant impact, all right? We can still, just for instance, this one, International Journal of Arts, Humanities, and Social Science. So I'm going to just try this, and then International Journal of Arts, Humanities, and Arts, largely because that's what our corpus is. So if you Google Journal of Popular Culture, you will have other list of journals, right? So just have a look at this one. International Journal of Arts, Humanities, and Social Science. So first thing to do is to find out their scope. Does their scope, or the things that they are focusing on, does it fit our research and our research findings? If it doesn't, then go to some other journals. Sometimes they may call themselves a particular name that we think echoes our research focus, but what they write about or what they publish might be something that is not connected to us. For instance, the journal is started with noble effort to help researchers in their work and also to share knowledge and research areas. All research interested scholars are given best opportunity to make the world aware of their work. We aim to cover the latest outstanding research and development in area of human life, history, culture, society, as well as arts and craft. And then look further, publishes research papers in the fields of humanities and social science, such as anthropology, business, communication, literature, Okay. Okay, so technically this journal may be of interest to us. Then we look at previous papers that they have published. Conservative resistance, looking behind the veil of memoir in Soviet Kazakhstan. Okay, so that there is that literary dimension. Can I tell you my story, the story behind the stories, an exploration into the use and value of autoethnography within cross-cultural. Okay, so you see the kind of research that they published. So that's number 2. Number 3, to look at the index. Okay, index will give you the ranking, how the journals are ranked. So this particular journal is ranked in the following databases: Google Scholar, ResearchGate, SiteFactor. This is where this is where a particular journal's reputation is highlighted lah. A good one would be Scopus Index, okay, which is not something easy to get into, right? So I'm not going to push for that. Say, for instance, cultural studies. Just a second. Okay, so cultural studies is a Taylor and Francis journal, okay, which is a very reputable journal. So if you want to know their index, you go to journal metrics. So they give you their citation, they give you their impact factor and their citations. And yeah. Okay. So they tell you their impact factor. They tell you all those important information. That means to get yourself published in this kind of a journal, it would show your scholarship. It would show your credibility as a researcher, as a scholar. Yeah. So it's not something to scorn at. Basically, if you get published in these kinds of highly reputable journal, so this is something to aim for. But like I said, I'm not too bothered right now. Right now, it's about you developing some kind of scholarship, right? You've done your research, you want to publish, you want to make your research available, and you want to make sure that the journal that you publish in celebrates that content, that finding that you are going to showcase. So that is good enough. Leave it at that. Later, once you have developed your scholarship, you've been publishing more regularly, then you can aim for a particular kind of a journal, what we call, the impact factor lah. Okay, so just enjoy the process of basically identifying where can I publish, what kind of journals do I look for. The title of the journal needs to reflect the areas of interest that you are publishing in. I want to hear your thoughts, and then I can give you some suggestions as well. I mean, does that help? Does that make sense to you?
It does. So for us to start writing this journal article, for now, maybe we just try to write an introductory paragraph to it.
Yes.
All right.
But you're not writing, you are just taking bits and pieces from chapter 5, your thesis, chapter 1 to 5. Yeah. So, in your mind, you're not like, oh my God, I have to sit down and write the whole thing. No, you just go through. If you have a hard copy, if you have a digital copy, go through and just highlight which sentences you think you want to include. It might start off your introductory paragraphs, maybe a couple of pages long. Then based on that, we may shrink it, we may take bits and pieces and put it somewhere else. So for now, just enjoy the process of identifying which bits go into the introductory paragraph and the thesis statement. That's all.
All right. I guess I don't have much to say for now, but I think my questions are all answered as well. I prepared some questions here, but they're all
Oh,
answered
brilliant.
with the explanation. But there is one though I would like to ask. This is out of context with the publication. Does PPBL offer master's degree for students who want to do it part-time, like part-time studies, like work while doing masters? Do they offer that?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely. I'm gonna stop recording now, huh? Just a second.
yeah.
So